Truma, makers of the Combi heater and iNet system, are proud to sponsor Practical Caravan TV.
Welcome to Practical Caravan TV, your one-stop shop for all things caravanning. Now you might think that I get enough exercise trailing up and down the country reviewing new caravans, but my wife says I need to get more, so I'm out training. So while I get on with this, here's what's coming up in this week's show. I'll be taking a look at the new Lunar Lexon 560 and the impressive twin-axle Coachman Laser 675. David Motton tests the Seat Alhambra and the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer. And we'll pay a visit to Barn Farm campsite. Once upon a time, the fixed nearside bed was absolutely the height of luxury. These days, however, it's all about the transverse island bed. So much so, in fact, that for 2017, Coachman has dropped all but one of its fixed nearside bed models. And that includes the flagship twin-axle laser range, with the old 640 making way for this, the new 675. As you can see from that blank wall on the near side, that's where the bed head of the new transverse island bed sits. As you'd expect from a van of this size and price, it's absolutely loaded with kit. We've got all the expected Alco goodies, heavy-duty steadies, external locker access, and a huge front sunroof, which really adds to the looks of a very stylish van. That sunroof, along with a huge roof light overhead, means that it feels lovely and bright in here, and that's also helped by these rather fetching new fabrics in two-tone grey, with the majority of them this rather nice pale colour. In fact, the grey theme continues throughout the van. We've got grey curtains and these swish new grey soft touch plastics all around, which give a really classy feel. One thing I particularly like is the mounting of the speakers in the front corners here. It should mean that the sound circulates better than when they're flat against the ceiling, as they are in most vans. I also like the sense of space. For 2017, the interior length of the lasers has been extended to 6.32 metres, so this is a pretty massive van. That said, this lounge is probably really only for 4 people. Any more than that is possible to accommodate them, but it's going to be fairly squeezed. But then, of course, this is a 4-berth van. With the front 2 berths being made up from the sofa here, you pull out the base underneath my seat here and then slide down the cushions, and judging by how comfortable they are to sit on, it should be a pretty comfy bed. And there are masses of storage options in here. We've got 3 overhead lockers on either side, these 2 really big deep drawers beneath the pull-out table in the front chest, which is really nice instead of the very slender drawers that you usually get, and there's access from the inside to the underbed storage space on both sides, although sadly no external access. The lounge may not feel massive, but this combined entrance hall kitchen area really does feel phenomenally spacious. You really can feel that extra room from being on a twin axle chassis. Over here on the near side, well, we've got a tower refrigerator, really sensibly sited, nice and high, so you don't have to bend down to get things out of it. In front of that, we've got a huge sideboard, which is the ideal place to put your TV. We've got 2 sockets, so your TV and DVD player can be accommodated, and of course your satellite 12 volt and TV points. Above them, sensibly sited again, is the controls for the Aldi wet central heating system. There's beneath it this rather neat cupboard with storage for the table, nice and close to the lounge, great to see, and some wire baskets, so ideal place for additional groceries. Above, this is where we used to find the microwave in a Coachman, but now it's an empty locker. And over here on the off side, well, we've got the microwave mounted in its own rather natty surround. It looks pretty good. I'm not so keen on the fact that it's directly over the oven and the grill and the hob, which is a rather smart new design with chrome finish and, of course, a dual fuel hob. The kitchen area itself is hugely spacious. There's a good amount of worktop with no need for a flip-up worktop flap, and the sink has its own cover should you need extra space. Beneath, there's a sink and a combined drainer unit, which is a very classy touch. We've got a couple of lockers above and loads of storage beneath with 3 big drawers and a cupboard. Of course, back here is what this layout is all about. the transverse island bed. And it really does make for a lovely master suite. There's a screen that can be pulled across to separate this area from the rest of the van. And once you're back here, the finish is lovely. We've got two good sized wardrobes, one on either side, with little shelves for your books and tea and cupboards beneath. Each person has a reading light and there are 3 overhead lockers. There's a very jazzy headboard with the new laser design fabrics on it, and the bed itself is currently in day mode, which means there's masses of space around the foot to get around it to go to the bathroom. At night, you simply pull it out and it measures 6 foot 2 inches long once the mattress top has been flipped over. That's unusually big for this layout, which is great to see. One thing that's not quite so good is it is a little bit dark in here. That's partly because we're parked underneath a tree, to be fair, but also perhaps this roof light could have been a little bit bigger. But you have got a good sized window that faces you when you're in bed. One thing I really like, however, is the dressing table in the corner of the room here. There's a cupboard above, a really big cupboard beneath, plus of course all the points for your TV, which can sit on the sideboard there, along with all your makeup, and of course there's a mirror above just to check you put it on right. Bearing in mind the size of the rest of the van, the washroom could have been larger, but it's wide enough not to feel cramped, and it's certainly well equipped, with a backlit mirror, 2 bathroom cabinets and some useful shelves. There's a radiator for the Aldi wet central heating in here, a spoked window and a small roof light, though again perhaps it could have been a bit bigger to keep things nice and bright. The huge shower cubicle is fully lined and features a new Eco Camel Jetstream showerhead, plus a couple of useful shelves. Amazingly, Coachman's best-selling van isn't a budget entry-level model, but this, the flagship single-axle, the VIP 575. Now, if there's a criticism of the 575, it's that it could do with a bit more space, both in the lounge and in the kitchen area. So enter the 675, which Coachman is confident will soon be its best-selling twin-axle. If you can afford a price tag well north of £25,000 and you have a big enough tow car, it's hard to see why you wouldn't pick it.
If you're looking for a large, heavy tow car, 4x4s aren't your only option. A big 7-seat MPV like the Seat Alhambra offers a high curb weight for healthy matching ratios and a practical and flexible interior. It's clearly a very good family car, but let's find out what the big Seat is like to tow with. We matched the Alhambra to a Swift Elegance 570 with a 1561 kilogram mass in running order. That's a heavy van, but the Seat's 1845 kilo curb weight makes the Swift an 85% match. It's well within the Alhambra's legal towing limit of 2.2 tonnes. The 184 PS engine is the most powerful in the Alhambra lineup, and it has plenty of poke for towing, even when pulling a big tourer like the Swift. However, when pulling away from junctions, it is easy to overwhelm the front tyres if you accelerate that little bit too hard. Even in wet weather, the Seat had no trouble with our lane change test. Lean was kept in check, and the Alhambra found surprising grip on the soaking road surface. We never felt for a moment that the Caravan was about to take charge. At motorway speeds, the Alhambra feels secure. There's very little movement at speed. It's a reassuring car to tow with. No wonder that we, along with our colleagues at What Car and the Camping and Caravanning Club, voted the Seat Best MPV at the 2016 Tow Car Awards. So, the Alhambra tows very well, but if you're thinking of buying a big MPV, you'll want to know all about the interior. Well, there's plenty of room up front and here in the second row, and seats 6 and 7 aren't as cramped as they are in some rivals. There's some neat thinking too, like the overhead air vents here in the second and third rows that keep everyone cool on a hot day, and the sliding doors are a real plus if you need to get the kids in and out of the car in narrow parking spaces. With all the seats upright, the boot isn't huge, but it should cope with the weekly shop. Fold the third row down and there's much more luggage space. With the second row folded away, there's more space than in any estate car. The Alhambra isn't cheap, certainly not in this specification, but you do get a lot of car for your money. Not only is the cabin spacious and flexible, but the car tows very well indeed too. It's stable on the motorway and the engine is very powerful. The Seat proves that if you want to tow a big and heavy caravan, you don't necessarily need a 4x4.
The panoramic front window has been around for so long that it almost seems old hat in the caravanning world. Yet until now, Lunar has refused to fit them to its vans, citing the loss of storage space in the lounge as the main reason. Instead, it's gone down the path of the full-length sky view rooflight, which is a lovely thing. But this is the 2017 Lunar Lexon, and as you can see, it has a panoramic front window. And what a difference it makes. Doesn't it look a lot more modern? It still has quite a bluff front, but that sweep of black up into the roof with those new graphics really give it a much sharper look. This is a mid-level van, priced to compete with the likes of the Swift Challenger, so there's a decent equipment level. It's got Alco ATC and an AKS hitch stabiliser, it's got alloy wheels and an external satellite point and 230 volt socket. It doesn't have a gas barbecue point, however, but it's still a pretty well equipped van, and a pretty good looking one too. I rather like those stylish new graphics, and I like the fact that there's external access underneath the bed boxes. And not to mention that, on the offside here, you'll find all of the surfaces, even the fridge vents, so there'll be nothing cluttering up your awning. The Lexon range has also had a bit of rationalisation for 2017. Gone are the family-friendly 580, which is a shame, I did like that one, and the twin-axle 640. But popular layouts such as this 560 with its transverse island bed are carrying on. And you can see why this one's popular. This bedroom area really is very spacious, uncommonly so, because there's been no attempt to put in a dressing table. Instead, we've just got a TV mount on the wall with all the relevant sockets, and this rather smart shelf over the window. I really like the fact that they've bothered to put a mirror with the padded surround and downlighters on this end wall here. It really can look very dull as just a blank expanse of wood. And there's plenty of room to get around the foot of the bed when it's retracted in day mode. To get it into night mode, you simply pull it out and flip over the cushion at the top. And if that bed's not long enough for you, the great news is you can buy an infill piece that stretches it to a whopping 6 feet 4 inches long. Underneath there's a huge amount of storage, and if you want any more, well, you've got a wardrobe on either side, more generous on the forward end, with a drawer underneath and a cupboard. There are 2 overhead lockers, and each of you gets your own reading light and shelf, plus a rather nice padded headboard. It would have been nicer had there been a little bit more light in here. This overhead roof light is a little bit on the small side, but otherwise it's really very little to quibble with. Through the sliding door, there's a lovely well-lit bathroom, thanks to an overhead roof light and a smoked window behind the toilet. It should be just as well lit at night too, thanks to a main light, a shower light and a backlit mirror. There are 2 bathroom cabinets in here, plus a rather smart bowl sink with a pop-up plug. The shower itself is fully lined with a contrasting grey riser and useful shelves. The Lunar's kitchen has had a makeover too. We've got this rather smart white gloss cupboards which look really bright and fresh, although it's a shame they don't quite match the white of the switches and sockets. There's a new splashback too, which gives a much more modern feel. Otherwise it's much as it was last year, but that's not a big problem. We've got a lovely big sink, loads of worktop, and a worktop flap you can pop up if you need yet more. We've got a dual fuel hob, separate oven and grill, and then a pan drawer beneath, beside the fridge, and a big cupboard that also contains the table, a cutlery drawer, and a couple of shelves. On the other side of the van, we've got a cupboard, a sideboard, a well-sited microwave at a good height, and of course, all the sockets that you'll need for your TV, because it's the obvious place to place it. Beneath that, there's a drawer and a cupboard too. It's in the lounge that you can really see the changes to the Lexon for 2017. We still have a charcoal-based theme to the soft furnishings, but gone are those very bold red striped curtains and cushions from last year. They've been replaced by a rather more grown-up, more luxurious feeling fabric. I like these wraparound sofas, they're really inviting to sit back on and relax. But of course the biggest change is above and behind me. This plastic moulding incorporates a huge sky view roof light and the front window. And there are little spotlight downlighters all the way around, so it should be just as inviting at night. The sofas still make up into a double bed, not an enormous one it has to be said, As always with the transverse island bed layout, the sofas really are only roomy enough for 4. But instead of pulling out the slats beneath the front chest, instead you pull out bases from beneath the sofas and the cushions slide down to meet each other. There are also still pull down flaps beneath so you can access all your gear in the bed boxes even if there's someone sitting on the sofa. But I've saved the best till last. Do you remember at the beginning I said that Lunar didn't put sunroofs in its vans because they were worried about lounge storage? Well, clever old Lunar, they've actually thought about that once they put in a sunroof and come up with these really neat corner cupboards. They actually have a lot more storage space in them than you'd think, and they're a rather neat finisher, much better than an open shelf. And beneath there's this LED strip, which means there's a pleasant atmosphere in here at night with a warm glow. The 2016 Lexon was a pretty impressive van, but there's little doubt that that dramatic interior did divide opinions, and frankly it was starting to look a little bit dated. With this 2017 van, there hasn't been a vast amount of changes, but those that have been made have really made a difference. It looks better inside and out, and for a couple looking for luxury without too high a price tag, this 560 is really appealing.
Vauxhall hasn't messed about with its latest Astra Sports Tourer. Like its hatchback sibling, the estate drives well, is packed with kit, and is offered with a range of punchy and efficient engines. We're going to find out how well it stacks up as a tow car. The curb weight is quite light at 1,435 kilograms. Today's Astra Sports Tourer is up to 200 kilos lighter than its predecessor. That's good news for fuel economy and emissions, but means a modest 85% match figure of 1,220 kilograms. The legal towing limit is 1,700 kilograms. We've been towing a 2008 Abbey Expression 560, an 89% match for the Astra. The bi-turbo is the most powerful diesel in the Astra range, with 158 bhp and 258 pounds-feet of torque. There's plenty of oomph even from low revs, enough to pull the Abbey from 30 to 60 miles per hour in 11.3 seconds. Engine noise stays in the background unless you work the engine hard, and with such a strong mid-range there's really very little need to. It's an economical engine too, returning just under 30 mpg while towing the Abbey. The Astra handled itself very well in the lane change test. Even with the Tourer moving around behind it, the Vauxhall was never pulled off course, changing direction quickly and decisively. Get the Astra up to motorway speeds and it feels secure. In breezy weather we've experienced some slight movements, but for the most part the Vauxhall makes a stable tow car. The brakes are also reassuring, stopping car and caravan from 30 miles per hour in 10.6 seconds. So, as a tow car, the Vauxhall performs well. The cabin also shows a step forward over the old model. There's plenty of space up front, and drivers of most shapes and sizes should be able to find a comfortable driving position. The standard of finish has jumped up a notch compared with the previous Astra, and there's lots of standard kit on our Elite Nav Spec test car. Rear seat passengers get decent space too, and the boot is a healthy size. Its capacity may not be class leading, but there's enough room for most families' holiday luggage. If you want more space for similar money, look to the Skoda Octavia Estate. But for value, performance and towing ability, the Astra Sports Tourer is right up with the best family estate cars.
Picturesque Barn Farm campsite is located in the heart of the Peak District in Derbyshire. 3 miles west of Matlock and 7 miles south of Bakewell, the site is close to a good selection of local attractions. A welcoming park with a wide range of facilities, Barn Farm is perfectly placed for enjoying the surrounding countryside, and walkers are particularly well catered for. The site is close to 4 major Peak District paths. After a long day of exploring, it's reassuring to know that you can take advantage of the on-site sauna, or top up on your tan on a sunbed. This is in addition to other facilities including a games room with TV, plus a children's play area for keeping the little ones occupied. The site's farm store stocks the essentials for your stay, but you don't have to fend for yourself all the time. The Butty Box catering service visits during the touring season and serves breakfasts, fish and chips and more. Few people who stay at Barn Farm fail to mention the amazing views. Little wonder the Peak District was the first of Britain's national parks to be created. But you don't have to spend all your time drinking in scenery. Nearby Matlock Bath is home to the Gulliver's Kingdom children's attraction, a great day out for all the family, and offers access to the Heights of Abraham Country Park and show caverns via cable car. More down-to-earth attractions close to Barn Farm include Derbyshire's Wildlife Whistle Stop Centre and the Peak District Lead Mining Museum. Stately home fanciers will find much to enjoy too, with Haddon Hall and the world-famous Chatsworth House close by.
Welcome to Barn Farm. We are a camping caravan site based in the heart of the Peak National Park. We range from caravans, camping and self-catering accommodation. We're open from April through to the end of October. We do get very busy during the summer months, so it is advisable to book. The facilities that we have at Barn Farm range from toilets and showers, which are open 7 days a week, 24 hours. We also have a shop on site selling equipment for caravans, equipment for camping and also sweets and things for the kids. If the weather's bad like it is today, you've got a number of things that you can do on site. You've got the games room for the children to play in. You also have a sauna to go and warm up in, but you've also got down at Matlock Bath the Heights of Abraham, which has got the caves, which obviously keeps you out of this weather. But if you bring your wellies and your boots, you can obviously brave it and go and have some walks out in the Peak District.
This is our third year at Barn Farm. We store our caravan here and we absolutely love it because Mark and Jans do their best they can to make it a really pleasurable holiday and the views are stunning. And you like it?
I've made tons of friends here and it's absolutely amazing place and there's tons of woods and forests to have fun at.
$99 or $100. Oh, that's quite enough for that. And actually, it's quite enough for us from this show. But don't worry, because we'll be back in a week's time with a special episode that's coming straight from the NEC show. If you can't wait till then, well, you can keep up with us on Facebook or Twitter and via our website. And don't forget that Niall Hampton and Practical Motorhome TV will be here in just a few minutes' time. Until next time, goodbye.
Truma, makers of the combi heater and iNet system, are proud to sponsor Practical Caravan TV.